issues. So like I'll play around with this episode in post and like see, and I'll have an answer for you by the end of the night.
All right. So,
but yeah, I do have the list. Yes. Or not all 71, but just like a couple of them that are one of them is really funny. And low key, I mean, it could be taken as racist, but it's just kind of funny.
What?
So, okay. So actually, we'll just start with this one and then we'll go into the music stuff. So anyway, for those who are just joining us, I am TB on the sax. That is Willie D Genius. We're here on The Heck You Want, where we talk about all things music and then some funny news stories. And we just kind of, have conversations about those. And then we just go wherever. We don't really have a plan. It's just whatever. But anyway, we were talking a little bit about this before the podcast started. And an interesting news story for the week is that scientists have discovered 71 new species of animals this year. 71.
71. All right.
Do you know how wild that is?
And the fact that, like,
we're still discovering shit.
Exactly. I don't even know, like where is this in the ocean?
Okay, so
deeper in the ocean and stuff, or what are they doing? Why are they still looking for animals?
Okay, so like a couple of them. Well, one of them, the one that I was talking to you about earlier, that's pretty funny, is in the ocean, and then there's another one that's in the ocean. So like, there's a fish that they found off the coast of Africa, and guess what they named it?
Man, it better not be like the Negro or the nigger fish or something.
The nigger
what
fish?
Is it? I don't know. Hey. What is it?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's the Wakanda. They call it the Wakanda.
Oh, well, you said it might be racist. I went to the as far racist.
You went when I said racist, you went like extreme alt-right racism. I was like,
I went racist. The El Negro fish.
The El Negro. That's funny. Oh, man.
Nigger fish.
But anyway, this fish is the Wakanda fish. And the reason they call it Wakanda is because their scales are so deeply pigmented purple. And I'm looking at a picture of it now. I'm going to hold my phone up to the camera and see if you can see it.
All right.
Like, the fish is actually a very beautiful thing. Like, it's a gorgeous fish.
Oh, that's a pretty fish.
So
I never said that about a fish, but that's a pretty fish.
Isn't it? I've never said that. Well, I've said that about a couple fish because I'm a nerd. I watch nature shows. But like they said they named it that because the fish's deep purple is like reminiscent of Black Panther.
Band name.
Yes, that is a band name. You are correct. Deep Purple. Was it purple? Not purple. Hey, Smoke on the Water. That's what they did.
Yeah. Yeah, the easiest guitar riff ever.
Yeah, right. The first thing everybody learns. But yeah, it's so deeply pigmented purple that it reminded whoever discovered it of Black Panther, and so they just called it the Wakanda fish. Like even in its Latin science name, I'm not even gonna attempt to pronounce this, but Wakanda's in it. Nope, I'm not doing it. Speaking of which, there's a show called Wording is Hard, which is hilarious, by the way. It's so funny. That you need
Ryan
to watch.
Davis, that's not his show though, right?
That's not his show. It's the other guy's show. And so like the way that started, the way that started is I don't know if you've watched like All Deaf at all.
I've seen some of this stuff.
Tahir has this thing where he be fumbling words. I mean, like sentences be getting in fights on the way out of his mouth. Like they fight his tongue. And it is the most hilarious thing to watch happen. But anyway, back to the topic. They also found several new species of sea slugs, which is disgusting to think about.
Uh-huh.
And here's another one that you and I both are going to cringe about.
All
they
right.
found 5 new species of spiders.
Hey, I'm going to tell you this. Spiders aren't my thing, right? I'm not as scared of spiders as I am of cockroaches or water bugs, as we call them in the South. I can't. Yeah, spiders don't bother me that much. Not that much.
Here's the thing. Here's my thing with spiders. Like, if I see the spider, like if I see the spider in a distance and it stays there, we good. But if one just like drops on me or I walk into a web, bro, I'm burning the house down. Like,
well, you know those spiders we got around here, those I think they call them like writing spiders, banana spiders, those ones.
Oh, the black and yellow ones? Yeah, banana spiders.
Yeah. Those are the ones now I ain't trying to mess with, but I ain't scared of them. But I ain't trying to mess with them.
Like when I remember when I was a kid and me and my mom stayed in the Castle Street house, we used to have like every year this one banana spider would post up on the corner of the fence to the house, like to the house on the right. So like this every year, every summer, it would come out, post up on that fence, and like it would just stay there chilling. And like low key, that was great because it would kill all the roaches. But like also at the same time, I'm like, if you enter the house, you are dead. Like,
check this out. One of those posted up in between my house and the fence on the outside during what was that hurricane we had, the bad one, Fran?
Yeah. No. Fran was like years. Fran was years ago.
What was the one 2 years ago? The bad one that caused all the flooding and stuff.
Matthew.
Before that one.
Sandy. No, Sandy was New York. I don't know the
name of the hurricane. Either way, we had a bad hurricane. That thing was outside. It survived the hurricane. It was up, still up, web all intact and everything through that hurricane.
Bro, they low key.
That's why I don't mess with them, man.
They low key like roaches. They like roaches, bro. They don't. Nah, I'm good.
But getting back to your fish.
Yeah, man. Right? This is so like for me. I'm a huge nerd when it comes to stuff like this. Like I love like if I could do something else besides music, I'd definitely be like some sort of zoologist in some field. Like I'd either study reptiles or something. Even though if I were a herpetologist, which is what reptile people are, like I would never. The one animal I would never deal with are crocodiles and alligators because they are unpredictable as hell. Snakes, whatever. If you can keep them at a distance, like you can hold a stick at them and they're fine. But crocodiles and alligators, bro, they're so strong.
And they fast.
And they're fast. People don't understand they're fast. They're quick. And they're not just quick in the water. They're quick on land too. Like people.
That's what I'm saying.
Like they're so quick. Like I think I saw this thing the other day because YouTube scroll, you get bored. And I saw this thing that was like crocodiles swim 20 miles an hour under the water. They swim. That's how fast they swim under the water. That's how fast. Like if they're booking it for prey or some shit, that's how fast they swim under the water. And on land, they move at 11 miles an hour. And to put it in perspective, they were like Michael Phelps' top speed in water is like 9 miles an hour.
No. This is. Check this out. They are they just as fast as Usain Bolt in water.
Yes. 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 So imagine a scaly Usain Bolt. Swimming at you at full speed that's trying to eat you. Like, and you see how that.
They catch deer. Like they'll catch them, whatever you call them, antelopes or something. They catch them. Like
they catch them.
Yeah. They catch them.
Wild, man. Fucking.
But
some niggas be out there, they be like, I'm gonna wrestle this alligator and put my fucking hand in his mouth. I'm like, nah, bro. All it takes is one time and that shit is gone.
And they ain't got no control over the alligator. It's just the alligator don't feel like messing with her at the time.
Exactly. They're well fed. It's the same thing as you've been to the aquarium, right? At Fort Fisher? You've been to that aquarium. Yeah. It's the same thing. Like when I was little, I used to be like intrigued as to how the shark divers could go in the big tank with the sharks and the sharks wouldn't fuck with them. And I was like, oh, they feed them like 8 times a day. They're not hungry. That's why. Like if this was in the ocean, they would be dead. Yeah.
And that's by design. They keep them hungry. They keep them fed so they don't attack anybody. That's on purpose. Yeah. But back to this, why are they still like looking for things? Like how? Are they still looking for stuff? Do they just happen to walk past something?
I think it's a combination of both. Like as far as the ocean goes, I mean, that like there's still like a vast amount of the oceans that's like not explored just because we can't physically get there.
Which is still weird to me that they can go to the moon, right? But
are you one of those people that believes the moon landing was a conspiracy? Are you one of those people?
I don't know. Have we been back?
They're actually there. I saw this thing the other day. NASA is they're starting plans to go back. Yes.
That should be. So the moon landing was in like the 60s, right?
Mm-hmm.
You mean to tell me that they haven't like just been up there, just walking around like all, crazy and stuff, just
I mean, nah, like
one time.
So like here's the thing about that though, like you got to think like, okay, we put a man on the moon, great, okay, what else is out there? So like I think I think that like if I was running NASA, I'm like, okay, we've already achieved this, there's no point in doing it twice, like whatever, let's look for whatever else is out there. Like the big thing for a long time was like trying to put someone on Mars, but that's just not feasibly possible. That's why they put the rover, and like that's why that's there.
You know why it's not feasibly possible?
Because you die.
No, because nobody went to the moon.
I mean,
they just saying stuff.
I don't know, man. I'd like to see that we went to the moon. That's a cool thing. It'd be one good thing America's done.
We don't just do one thing and then not go back. Like
they're going back. It's just 40 years later, 50 years later at this point.
That's a long time.
It is a long time. People have died and lived.
People should be like living on the moon by now.
I don't know about all that because like so like in theory, yes, I see what you're saying, but do you understand the amount of like just off the logistics alone to colonize the moon? Do you understand what that would take? That would mean ensuring like let's say we because like there's no way to grow food. There's no way to do that. Like there's no oxygen.
If we had actually been there, we should have figured that out by now. It's been 50 years.
But they didn't stay. They literally walked around, collected a couple rocks, and left.
Yeah, so like next year they should have went back, did some more stuff. Next year go back. Perhaps had they gone to the moon a couple of times, they could have figured out how to get to Mars.
I mean, we can get to Mars. You just can't stay on Mars.
Because you can't even stay on the moon.
Exactly.
Because they never went to the moon. Let me stop. I don't know. I just got.
You're about to access a whole new fan base just off that alone. Because you know how many people actually believe. You know what's crazy to me? People still believe the Earth is flat.
No, I ain't that. I'm not that.
Like I'm like, how? How?
I'm not that.
Like I used to have this coworker, and he shall remain nameless for me. But he told me, like, we were having a very serious conversation about this flat Earth thing. And he was like, yeah, man, I don't believe the Earth is a sphere. Like, that doesn't make sense. Like, when you walk on the ground, it's flat. And I'm like,
no.
Okay.
On,
I'm like, okay, all right. What's another supporting argument? And he was like, I also read this thing where like if you sail in the ocean and you go far enough, you're gonna hit the edge of the Earth. I was like, but what's at the edge? And he's like, it's an ice wall. A literal giant wall of ice, like the wall on Game of Thrones. I shit you not. I was like, so like they got motherfuckers like in the Night's Watch up there or some shit. Like,
he could have come up with something better than that one.
I was like, he said a wall of ice. I was like, okay, so just hear me out.
Donald Trump built it. Yeah,
just hear me out. If that was a thing, wouldn't the wall melt with the seasons as the ocean heats up? And I mean, the ocean is salt.
And what's holding the wall up?
Exactly. And what makes the wall stationary?
Yeah. How is the wall stationary?
Yeah. He also tried to argue gravity with me. He was like, gravity's not a thing. He was like, gravity's not a thing. It doesn't exist. And it's just inevitable that things are going to fall. And I was like, that's gravity. That's gravity. That's how that works. Like,
that's what gravity is.
That's what they call it. That inevitable
what goes
thing
up
must
inevitably
come
back down.
That's gravity. Like literally, I had to crumple up a piece of paper and fucking drop it to prove this point. I was like, all right, I took a piece of paper and I took a wrench because I was working at the dealership at this time. So, and I just happened to be walking in the shop. So I took a piece of paper, crumpled it up, and I took a wrench. And I was like, okay, boom, Boom. And I dropped them both on the floor. I was like, all right, they may fall at different speeds because their density is different, but they are both going to fall because there is a pull to the center of the planet. That's how it works.
And guess what I actually saw? I saw an experiment where these people, these scientists, they had this huge cylinder thing and they were able to somehow take the gravity out of it. No lie. They had a camera inside of it. They dropped, they did an experiment first. They dropped something heavy like a bowling ball versus like something really light. When the gravity was in there, they felt the bowling ball hit first. When they took the gravity out, they both landed at the same time.
Well, yeah, because so that's the really cool thing about that science is like mass is the ultimate determinant in that, like, when it comes to gravity. So like what they say, what your weight is technically is like the amount is something to do with like your, it's your mass and the like the effect your total mass has on the pull, has on your pull to the planet. That's what your weight is. So like when you take the gravity out of the equation, essentially everything weighs the same, just the mass
weighs the same. So that's why I say in a vacuum, that's what it was. They were in a vacuum.
In a vacuum,
everything falls at the same rate.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it was. Yeah.
That's why you float in space, because there's no gravity. So gravity. Like you just.
So I have issues with the moon thing because I don't know why we hadn't been back, but I know what gravity is. I've seen that. I've fallen off of things before, so I know what gravity is.
Yeah, like I've fallen off some things. I've smacked dollies in the knee. I don't know if you remember that one.
Yeah, I have too.
Oh man, good times. But yeah, anyway, moving right along. So yeah, they're still discovering shit out here, and that's mad scary. So we're just gonna move on from that.
Why are they still looking for stuff? All right.
I don't think they're necessarily still looking for stuff. I think, well, I know that in some fields of science they absolutely are, because there are some things that we still need to know. But like, I think as far as like animal discoveries go, like, I don't think you're gonna know that something else is out there unless you're studying something else.
Yeah, and you stumble across.
I
think that fish was. Yeah. That fish looked like a goldfish.
That's what I'm saying. Like that fish, like they found it off the coast of Tanzania. I think, I could be wrong because I closed the article. I could be very wrong, but they found it off the coast of like Tanzania or some coastal African country, and they, like, I believe from what I was reading, the guy who discovered it was actually studying like a completely different species of fish, because he was like trying to learn their habits and stuff, because that other fish he was studying was relatively new, meaning like discovered within the last 50 years.
So he discovered that fish looking for something else.
Yeah, like he was like literally trying to study the fish that was previously mentioned.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah, anyway, moving right along. I had an interesting conversation with the with some of my musician friends the other day, and
all right,
one of the things that came up was like, you know, because we're all missing making music live right now, and one of the things that came up is like, you know, when you're making music in whatever, you know, environment you're in, whether or not you're practicing or you're playing a gig or you're just playing, what headspace do you try to achieve? Like, I know for the Coastal Crew, we always refer to like a certain moment as the space, and like it's very hard to quantify how to get there, but we all know it when we get there.
Yeah.
So no, believe it or not, it actually, so yes, there are times where it happens and it's very marijuana induced. I will not shy away from that. But more like for me, like the first couple times it happened, because like when I first started hanging out with Coastal, I didn't smoke. Like I smoked with Cameron once, and that was like it for like 6 months. So when we would play gigs, and like we would play the gigs sober, because like it's hard to play a gig when you're like shit fucking stoned. Like that's hard. Like I don't. It's fucking like being a little high is one thing, but like there was just a sidebar. There was one time where like we were playing a show and this lady gave us a bunch of edibles and I ate the whole freaking brownie, not thinking, because I'm very new when it comes to at this point in time when it comes to like edibles and stuff. So I ate the whole brownie. And I distinctly remember the moment when I was like, I can't handle this.
Brother.
It was a quarter of the way through the second set. We literally had played 2 tunes. I looked at Jared and I was like, nah, fam. And I went to the green room. You were so mad at me that night. I had finished the gig. I did not finish.
Song? Huh? Oh my God.
I didn't leave in the middle of a song. I didn't leave I finished the tune we were playing, but then like right after I looked at Jared and I was like, I can't.
Hold up. Did you start playing like wrong notes and stuff? Or do you even know?
No. Okay, so I didn't play like wrong notes and stuff. Like I remember like it sounded fine. I just remember like in my head, like there was
probably did.
There was just so you're probably right. I really hope there's not a recording of that because it probably sounds awful. But yeah, so like, I mean, I finished the tune. I finished the tune we were playing, and then I like looked at Jared. I was like, "Hey man, this is done." I can't. Yeah, it was not happening.
I mean, so in my case, man, I hadn't made any music in a long time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just because I hadn't had an opportunity to. I've just been busy and then, work and stuff like that. So I really haven't had the time. I hadn't had I hadn't been able to just sit down and try to create something. So I hadn't been like in a creative mood musically. Other than me sitting down and doing some drum covers and stuff like that, really hadn't made too much music. But so it's hard for me to comment on that one, man, as far as my headspace. Usually, and even when I was creating music at the time, when I was doing it back in the day, it was out of, you know how it goes. You might be doing something at random and all of a sudden an idea pop in your head. And then you got to stop what you're doing and try to
and flush it out, or at least
or somehow get your idea down so you don't lose it. But I've never had to be in like a particular mood, headspace, anything like that. Every time I've created something, it was just like boom, like an idea popped in my head, and I just had to keep humming it until I got to a place where I could either write it down, humming it to my phone or something like that. But I've never had like to be in not in the mood or headspace or anything like that. How were you with that?
Well, like I'm kind of the same way. Like I get random ideas all the time, right? And I'm the same way. Like I have to like either, like most of the time I'll sing it into my phone. Like a lot of me writing music. Cause like I kind of cheat when I write just because I have a Cameron.
Oh, wait. Hey.
I have a Cameron. I have a Cameron.
Right. Yeah.
So like a lot of times, like what'll end up happening is like I'll hear a really dope idea for a hook or a melody. And I'll sing it and I'll send it off to Cameron, and Cameron will send me back like a whole thing. And then I'll add the frilly shit on top, and then it's cool.
Jerk. Yeah.
So like that's I have a Cameron. That's
a good luxury. Shout out to Tinklebird.
Shout out to Grandmaster Tink Tink. That's what we call him.
Man.
Master Tink Tink.
Yeah, because see, in my case, if I would have something like that, like even if I don't play the keyboard, so like I could figure out stuff, but it would take me so long to figure out a chord or something.
I don't play keyboard, and I know a little bit of like piano basics because like and when you're a music major in college, like you take piano classes. So like when I was in college for like a year and a half, I was taking piano courses, but like outside of like being able to voice a C major 7 chord, like that's about it for me. Like I can do the other stuff. It's just gonna take me a couple hours to sit down and be like,
right. And see, my problem with that used to be, man, it would take me so long to figure out some of that stuff. It would morph into something else. Yes, it was because I couldn't play it.
Sat down, and because I couldn't play what I originally had in my head, I turned like this. Actually happened recently. I was like trying to because we're doing some cool stuff for Coastal, which I'll announce later. You've already seen like sneak peeks, snippets of. But like when. And so we're on my track now. So like the idea I originally had for my track, when I went to like lay down the reference keyboard track, I couldn't play it. I couldn't. And I called Cameron. So I called Cameron and I was like, dude, I don't know what to do. And he was like, just what are you listening? Because like usually a lot of like my inspiration comes from like something I'm listening to. Like if I've been listening to a lot of Lettuce, what I'm hearing is gonna sound like, or what I write is inherently gonna sound like Lettuce. Or like if I'm listening to rock music, I'm gonna want to play something super heavy. Like it just depends. So like I was like, I'm really digging on, and it was funny how this worked out. It was total coincidence. I was listening to a lot of Cameron's first electronic music record. Because it's a super good album. I'll send you the link in Apple Music, but it's a really good record. But there's this one track in there called I think it's Sun or one of the others. It's got like this really cool West Coast kind of bounce. I was like, I want to do it's something like this, but I can't play it. And he was like, all right, give me like 3 days and I'll have something for you. And I was like, okay, cool. So like I'll probably have that on Monday and then I'll finish up my track. Like once he lays the groundwork, I'll write the stuff over top of it and boom.
Yeah, that's a good luxury to have.
Yeah, I have a camera.
I swear, man. I swear, I'm sitting there thinking of stuff. And I'm like, dude,
that's oh my god.
The three chord, then I get the three note chord that sounds nothing like what the root note sounds like something I hum, but like the rest of it is like, what is this? And then it just turns into something else. I'm like, that's not even what I was thinking. By the time I'm like, this ain't even what I was thinking at first. But I will say this: a lot of times, what I used to do on purpose, I would purposely, like, if I did want to write something, I wouldn't listen to music just because like you said, I know this is gonna sound like whatever I was listening to last. So I would kind of like flush my head out. Now that's one thing I did do on purpose. I would kind of flush the music out of my head, try to, right? And then if something popped in, and it still could have been like probably something similar to the last thing I heard.
Right.
But to me, it felt like I wasn't like just piggybacking off of something that I heard last. So I would literally try to maybe not listen to music for 2 or 3 days or something. And then sometimes if something pops in my head, I would take it from there. But just as far as headspace goes, I really don't have like a go-to mood or type of like setup. It's just spontaneous.
It's spontaneous whenever it happens, it happens. It's one of those things where like you just have to, like, for me, the big thing is being present. So like recognizing that moment when I'm having a spark of creativity, like recognizing it when it happens and like not letting that idea go, which I'm not the best at. Cause I'll be honest with you. Like, I mean, I can't tell you how many like full tunes I've written while sitting at a desk at work, and like, they're never going to see the light of day because I can't remember them.
Dude, like, let me tell you something. I probably got some Grammys that I left on the wall.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm pretty sure I got some heat, you know, but like,
it'll never come back.
Never come back.
That's what you said about being present. It's a good thing you got a cameraman, because me, I'm so removed. I'm not removed from as far as listening to music, but as far as from playing it, I'm so far removed from that, man. I probably couldn't even chord something out like this. I'm so just out of it. Like, nah.
All right. Well, that's a good place to wrap that one up. I think that's a good spot. We'll cut that one there.
All right. Hold that one. I gotta check a text real quick.
Okay. We'll both text things because I'm texting.
Okay. All right, I'm good now.
All right, I'm good. Okay.
You can write a song off of that Fire's the Law.
I could, yeah, you're right. I've been fucking neglecting changing, and you know what's fucked up. You know, this is the true sign that like I'm still not all the way an adult yet. I've had the battery to change it for 3 days, and I still haven't done it.
Man, that's not an adult thing. People just don't do it because it becomes white noise. It becomes part of your life.
Exactly, yeah. Like you know, I was on FaceTime with one of my friends the other day, and they were like, "How are you living with it?" I was like, "At this point, it's just there."
Yeah.
Like I like honestly, until someone points it out, I don't notice it anymore.
Man, that just happened like 2 weeks ago. I asked some company over there, like, "You don't hear that?" I'm like, what? What is the thing called? Fire? A smoke detector. Yeah, I'm like, no, I don't hear it. And every time I went on, they were like, there it is. I'm like, I still didn't hear it. I'm just used to it. Just got used to it.
Yeah,
it's part of the everyday noise. Yeah, it's part of everything the daily whatever noise things.
Yeah.
All right, so that was one topic, right?
That was one topic. That was perfect. All right, so into the next thing. What is your okay? There's gonna have to be a little bit of a caveat to this question. Well, not a caveat, but just adding like options because I feel like this is very limiting. But what is your favorite live performance that you've seen, been a part of, or heard on a record?
That's easy for me, man. That's easy for me.
Yeah.
So you know who my favorite band is all time. Absolutely. I ain't saying they're the best band in the world, but they are my favorite band. Who is
That's Dave Matthews.
Dave Matthews. I got to see him live twice last year. I saw him live twice last year. And so I'm going to say them because they were my first, I'm 41 years old, right? Mm-hmm. That was my first major concert that I've been to. I haven't gone to any other, like, I've been to some small venues, you know, like this local stuff. That was my first big concert. And the first time I was in the pit, right there, like, Dave could have shook my hand. He was close enough to shake my hand, right? So you saw the pictures where, like, Carter Beauford is one of my idols. So I saw his drum set sitting there by itself and everything. But, man, being that close, and that being my first concert, my first major concert, being that close and watching what I'm used to seeing, like the eye contact and them knowing where everybody's playing, them getting into it and knowing the keyboard player knowing Carter's about to do this, Carter knowing Dave is about to do this, Dave knowing everybody's about to do something, they just looking at each other and just jamming. Oh, man, that was my
that was
my favorite musical experience.
I will say, like,
I loved it.
That's an awesome first concert experience because, like, you want to know what my first concert was?
What?
Toby fucking Mac.
That was big. It was big though, right?
But like, okay, so here's the thing. Because that was when we went to like that King's Fest trip. You remember we used to do that shit all the time?
I didn't go.
You didn't go, but Noodle went. And like, so Noodle, I butchered that. His name is actually Nuda. Sorry, Demir.
Noodle. Sorry, Demir Cobb.
Sorry, Demir.
That's your government name.
But like, so we went and like, we were both just kind of like, okay, this is lame, but the drummer is really good. Cause like the drummer was smacking. Like I remember being like,
yeah,
I was like 12. Yeah. Like 12. I remember being 12 years old and being like, this kind of sucks, but the drummer is actually kind of dope.
Yeah.
And all the bands were like, I think the best band that was in that lineup was Skillet. And Skillet was dope back in the day. Like, you know, 12.
I kind of remember Skillet. Yeah.
12-year-old angsty me was like, yeah, you know, whatever. But I think as far as the best concert I've ever seen, and it's crazy that this happened in Wilmington, but I went to see Lettuce when they came.
They were here.
They played downtown Wilmington. They were actually
okay.
Yeah, they played downtown, and then they played. I think they played Greenfield Lake Amphitheater. Was it? They were either supposed to play there this year, like later on this summer, or they played there last summer. But anyway, they came and did a show back when we had, it was either the Throne Theater or it was the Blue Eyed Muse. It was one of those two. It's the same building. It's where the Rocks used to be. It's that building that turned into a big music venue. So that's where they played. And like they did that cover of Everybody Wants to Rule the World.
Ooh,
Oh my God. They did that live and Nigel Hall was singing his ass off.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God. And what was crazy, so like there's a whole lot of backstory to this. So anyway, Sean, I'm finally telling the story. I'm sorry. Just forgive me. Sean Mead, great saxophone player. He's another third of the coastal horn section. But anyway, so Sean and I used to work together at Men's Warehouse, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one day I asked him to cover for me at work, and I didn't tell him why. I was just like, I'm not feeling well, you know.
You didn't tell your boy Sean why.
Here's the thing. I let that motherfucker go to New York, and I stayed behind because I had to work when Coastal went to Brooklyn. Right. So he owed me one anyway. Right. So I just tell him like, hey man, can you close the store tonight? I can't do it. I'm not feeling well. I'm gonna head out. We weren't living together yet, or else he would have totally called bullshit. We weren't living together yet at this point in time. I was still in the Ripley house, and he was, and I hadn't moved into his house yet. So I really was just gonna go home, but then I'm just like scrolling through Facebook or whatever, and I happened to see that Lettuce is playing a show, and as luck would have it, guess who calls me as I'm scrolling? Fucking Jared. Jared's like, yo, I got this extra ticket to go see Lettuce. And I was like, bet, I'm in there. So I went home, showered up, changed real quick. And so at that point in time, we had gotten to the venue early enough to where they weren't really checking like where you were sitting or standing. Like we just went straight upstairs to where the VIP was. Like we was just up there. So the show starts and Lettuce is doing their thing. And then I just feel someone like touch me and Jared on the shoulders, right? They just grab me and Jared on the shoulders. Guess who that is? It's Mike.
Who is this?
It's Mike.
So y'all had a band, half the band is like showing up.
Yeah, just out of the blue. Like it wasn't planned, it was just a thing. And like that was
Mike D'Angelo.
Yeah, that was a good night. Cause like even Mike's just like watching the drummer Adam Deitch. He's like, he literally doesn't have to do any fills, and it just sounds so good. Like he's just laying in the pocket, making it feel good. And that was like hearing Mike acknowledge that. Like when Mike acknowledges another drummer, I'm like, all right.
Man, we have to get Mike on the show.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get him. We gotta be professional about this shit.
Mike is a local hero.
Yeah, Mike is a local hero. He is officially dubbed the baddest white boy in town. Like that is his nickname. Like amongst the drummers in town, that's his nickname.
Even that though. See, that's shortchanging him on that. That's shortchanging him, calling him the baddest white boy. That dude, man, the effort, the lack of effort that he does some of his stuff in, man, where it just looks like. Yeah, it's just like he plays like he invented the drums, man. I'm just like, God, dog, man. I've been playing for so long with this dude right here. It's just like nothing. It's like nothing to him.
You know what's crazy?
Nothing.
You know what's crazy? He's 10 years younger than you.
I know.
But yeah,
like this dude is.
I remember
like he can get the most sounds out of nothing.
Out of a kick, a floor tom, a rock. No, actually, for the last run of Coastal iterations that he did, it was literally a kick, floor tom snare, hat, 2 cymbals, and a sample pad. That was it.
Yeah. Like it's crazy.
So I actually, like, funny side story. I remember the first time I very vividly remember the first time I heard Mike like really play. This was at the UNCW Jazz Workshop, which is where like me and Sean met, and Mike. Mike was teaching then though. He was teaching. And I remember they did this version of I don't quite know who wrote this tune, but they did a song called Ekaro for like the big UNCW faculty big band. And Mike, just like the way he set the band up for all the big horn section moments was just like, it's so perfect. Like, I mean, like the way he set up the one was just like, here we are, play now, motherfucker.
Yeah. Dude is a genius, man.
And he's not like aggressive. Like it's not like an aggressive thing. He's just very sure of where the beat is. Like he's like, nah, it's right here.
Yeah, and you go ahead and play with him, like, and be in a band with him or something. You mess around and not pay attention. He will have you upside down because he'll flip.
He's done that to me so many times.
You mess up. I've heard what you was talking about. Yeah.
You know what the worst thing about playing with him and Taylor? The worst and the best thing about playing with him and Taylor at the same time? Oh my God, they be fucking with me, man.
They literally make you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1.
I remember one gig at Jimmy's, dude. Mike and Taylor were just going to outer space, and I'm just like sitting here about to pull my hair out because I have no idea where we're at. I'm just like,
what one is.
I'm just gonna play the melody here, okay?
Hey, when you get like that, like if you got the melody on you just take it. Y'all find me instead of me finding y'all.
Dude, that's how it was. Like I was just like, man, I can't. I remember I used to be very afraid to play with Mike and Taylor in a trio setting because, like, again, Mike and Taylor. But then, like, you know, you do it the once. And you get a feel, you don't necessarily, like, it's not predictable by any means, but you start to understand how they think, especially when you're playing, like, pop stuff, but you're making it fusion. So, like, that's Taylor's vibe all the way. Like, he loves taking, like, pop songs and flipping the shit out of them. And Mike is just like, all right, cool. I can pretty much play just like Dave Weckl. So, like... like them two as a rhythm section is like scary. Like I remember one time Cameron and I were actually having a very candid conversation about this, and Cameron was like, sometimes playing with Mike and Taylor at the same time just stresses me the fuck out because like it's very weird. It's like, especially for Cameron as a piano player, like it's hard for him to know for sure where Taylor's gonna go.
Yeah.
So like,
but Now let me ask you this: is Cameron? Is he jazz trained, like classically trained? What's his background?
Cameron. Yeah, we're getting off subject, but it's fine.
We'll get back.
We'll get back. So Cameron, and I may be wrong. I'll have to fact check with him on this, but he took piano lessons when he was a kid. So I think he was classically trained, and then he actually one of the really cool, but kind of it's sad, but it's cool at the same time is like Cameron. So Cameron was taking private piano lessons from his childhood. So like he's classically trained in that sense. Like his technique is very, classical. And then he started listening to jazz, and then he went to school at UNCW and was a jazz major. And kind of a really interesting thought is like the guy who was teaching piano at the time, Andy Whittington, I want to say Cameron was in like that last generation of students before he passed. So a lot of knowledge that Andy Whittington had was passed to Cameron. And that like also one of the things about Cameron that I really truly admire is like when Cameron does something, and I mean like whether or not he's making the beat or he's playing piano, like whatever, when Cameron does something, it sounds like Cameron. Like I can hear a Cameron beat from a mile away.
Yeah.
Like that's cool. Sounds like Cameron. And that's like that speaks volumes just on him as a person, because like his music is very reflective of him. Like even if he's making a dirty ass trap beat, I'm like, that's Cameron. Like there are like little tells like that let me know like, okay, that's Cameron. Or like if I'm listening, like I remember one day I was just like walking. Cameron had popped back in town, but I didn't know he was in town yet. And I was walking downtown and I heard piano coming from like I don't know if it's actually a gay bar, or just a lot of gay people hang out there, which
I don't know.
No slight to that. No slight to that
Yeah.
at all. I just don't know the actual demographic. But like I just heard like somebody just going in on a piano and I was like, that's Cameron. And I peeked my head and I was like, motherfucker, when'd you get here? And he was like, you're in town too? I was like, yeah, I'm just chilling. Like, and then I was mad I didn't bring my horn with me because like I left it in Savannah because I wasn't planning on being in Wilmington that long. Like I was literally to meet with Jared for a second and then head right back out.
And you know what else? I'll say this. It's crazy how y'all do that stuff, man. You actual gigging musicians, how y'all just pick up and just leave and just 5-6 hours right back next, like the same night. That's crazy.
I hate it.
y'all, man, I don't see how y'all do it.
Like
y'all do it a lot.
Listen, like, so people think that like being a musician on the road is one of the most glamorous things ever, or really any medium where you like travel a lot. And I'm like, I can tell you right now, sleeping in a bed that ain't your own for weeks at a time, that shit sucks.
You ain't getting no sleep. First of all,
you getting no sleep.
You're
tired. Depending on what time the gig is, you're not getting back at the hotel room until like 1, and then lobby call if you got to travel somewhere far is at like 3 a.m. because you all got to meet in the lobby before you get in the van. So this is fuck that. Like touring, for me, touring is fun for the first week. After the first week, it's
you're excited to play something new. Yeah, you're excited to play something new, and then after that, then work. Then it's work. I get it.
Then it's work.
That makes sense. That makes complete sense. But yo, I'm gonna circle back to that whole thing with Dave Matthews though.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that got me about that being in the pit and watching them play, man, because we were so close that it sounded horrible. That's how close I was, right? Because we weren't in speaker range. We were in front of the speaker, so all we heard was what was on the stage. Like we heard amps. Like so it sounded horrible, but man. And it was like you were saying, playing with Mike and Taylor, like you have to know how they play to find your spot and where they're gonna go. And that's the key to any band that can lock in, man, because I was sitting there, you know how much I know them songs from Dave Matthews, not the new stuff, but the earlier stuff. And I was sitting there playing with Carter. Same feels, everything. I was like, man, he's doing the same stuff. And watch Dave look at him because he's about to do something. Bam, right on cue. Dave looked at him. They did the field. Oh, shit, they did it. They did it. I was just like, oh, shit, they did it. It was just stuff like that. I'm just like, oh, man. Now, I was with 2 friends of mine. Shout out to Drew and Mark. I mean, we're all Dave Matthews fans, but I don't think they know. I like, man,
it's different for you because like they're Dave Matthews fans, but like for me and you, like I mean just like you and I, like that's had you and I gone to that concert, that would have been a totally different experience. Because we both would have been geeking out at the same time.
Elbow on each other, like, hey, you about to do it. You about to do it. Yeah, stuff like that. But, man, it was so cool because they got a new organ player. His name's Buddy something. I forgot his last name, but that dude, man, it's like they got a whole new,
He's fire.
Oh yeah.
He is fire.
It's like a whole new vibe to what they're doing, man. Dude, he just got a different energy. You can tell he's the newest one.
Oh yeah,
I guess that's how it is. You can tell he's the newest member. But it's crazy. And like he was singing on some of the spots and everything because he's got like a gospel voice. He can sing like that. And some of the spots he was singing on Stay, he was singing some of the callbacks and stuff like that.
Was he really? Oh.
Yeah, the hot stuff. I was like, wow.
That is
while he was playing, and
Low key,
cool.
that is my favorite Dave Matthews track of all. I love that song.
Man, I got a couple of them. I think 41 is probably my favorite one just because of the groove, just because of this. It's just laid back to me.
Yeah.
But Stay is probably my most exciting. Stay is probably one of my
Stay
favorites.
Stay is like my feel good. Like if that comes on my shuffle, I'm like, yeah, we're gonna listen.
Yeah.
Like 41, I have to be like, I want to hear that song and like go find it and play it. Like,
I get that.
And not to throw shade on it because I do love that song, but like Stay is like I could either go and find it or it could randomly pop up on my shuffle, and either way, I'm listening to the entire song multiple times.
Not push and skip. I get that. Yeah,
like, I'm quick to throw on that repeat button.
That yeah. But that was that one was my favorite one, and then I went back and saw them again play live like a couple months later in Phoenix, and we sat further back. We had seats this time, so we could actually hear the mix, and it was just as good because it was hot, but it was cool to watch that first time, man. It was just how people said electrifying. I was like that was cool.
Another cool concert I got to see.
I got to saw that.
I got to see was the Nth Power, which they've been one of my favorite bands for a long time. The Nth Power.
You gotta send me some because I've never heard of them.
Bro, I send you their tracks all the time. They're the dude. The hold on.
I don't remember that one. Now I know you sent me Blade Brown or whatever the dude. Not Blade Brown. What's his name? Butcher Brown.
Butcher Brown. It's a band. It's not a dude. Sorry. It's all the
I said Blade Brown.
Said Blade Brown.
Hey, look up Blade Brown. That's an actual character.
That's a porn star. That's a porn star.
Nah. Look up Class Act. That's what kids play, man. That's an old movie. That's
God, Blade Brown. What the fuck? Hold on. Yeah, but yeah, Butcher Brown is what I've sent you. But nah, the Nth Power. Hold on. I gotta find it.
Butcher Brown.
I love Butcher Brown though. Like Butcher Brown is amazing. What's a good one? Yeah, this is a good one. Hold on. Can you hear this?
Yeah. I think you got like 30 seconds.
Yeah. Are you guys ready? I'm gonna.
Oh, that's old school, man. What is that?
Is this not fire?
You like that?
And the basses are just like in there.
Yeah. Now, how you even spell that? The
Nth Power. So like NTH, in lowercase th, capital N, lowercase th.
Oh yeah.
Like algebra.
Yeah. Now,
think algebra.
Yeah. Now I failed algebra, so yeah, don't do that.
So did I. Twice.
I did too. Almost did twice. Almost twice didn't happen, but it should have.
Well, okay. So same way. Twice should have happened because like the second time I was like, fuck this, and I just didn't go to class.
Well, the second time I just bombed everything, and it was my teacher just passed me just to get me out of the class.
Like I remember my algebra teacher literally pulling me to the side, and he was like, "Look, if you can pass this test, I will give you a C." And I was like, done. I got a 75 on that test, which was passing, and I took my C and I left.
Dude, mine didn't. This is literally my problem. Once they started putting letters in math,
it's stupid. It's dumb.
It's stupid. No point. I was out. And so, like, my literal algebra grade depended on me graduating. Like, Seriously, it depended on it. I wouldn't have graduated if the dude. So I took the final test, right?
Mm-hmm.
Man, after probably the 10th question or whatever math problem, I checked out. I just started just going straight down because I was like, I ain't getting the rest of these. Boop, 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 check the little pencil. Yeah. Whatever. Knew I bombed that mess, right? I was like, well, I'll see all these people. Well, now I'll see these juniors next year because I'm failing.
You're gonna be a super senior.
So, oh yeah, I'm gonna be a super senior. They're gonna give me a class watch. So watch. So I'm going back like to get my transcripts because I'm, just to see if I pass, get my final grades. And I happened to run into the dude in the hallway, my math teacher. He was walking down the hallway. I was walking to the office. I said, and his name was Mr. Ruff, R-U-F-F. And I said, hey man, I'm just coming to get my get my test scores. And he was like, Davis, come here. I was like, what, man? He said, you bombed that test. You didn't. He was like, did you even try? I was like, no. He said, but I'll tell you what. He said, you're a good kid. I like you. I passed you. He said, you owe me, man. And I was like, oh, all right. I was like, so I don't even need to see what I made. Say that?
Okay, this is what blows my mind about that statement.
Yeah.
How do you say that to what, a 17-year-old kid at the time, right? 17, 18, somewhere
yeah.
there? How do you say that? What's a 17-year-old kid gonna pay you back with? They ain't got nothing. They don't got nothing.
Well, hindsight, I found out some things later, but so yeah, we ain't gonna talk about that. But yeah.
Yeah, well, all right.
Yeah. So either way, I passed and never saw him again. Well, actually, I did see him again at the gym when I was an adult. He was working out and stuff, but he passed me. I appreciate it. I told him thanks, and that was it. But had he not passed me, I'd have been I'd have repeated the 12th grade. I'd have been a super senior, like you said.
Real quick,
and that would have been traumatic.
I got to shout out all my teachers in high school because all of them loved me, but except for my math teachers. My math teachers hated me because I hated math.
They hated you?
Oh, my math teachers. Me and my math teachers, bro. Ooh, it was, and it's not like I was bad. It was just like I wasn't fucking with it. I was not interested. I would rather go chill in the band room and wipe down fucking drums than do math.
Well, see, all I did was go to the gym. I was just in the gym all the time playing basketball. That's it.
Listen, it got to be in such dire straits with me and math that McCoy literally had to lock me in a practice room to get me to do my homework. I remember this was one jazz band rehearsal. I'm walking in and I'm lead alto at this point in time. Like I'm setting up my stuff. And, they figured out that like the one person in the school that could get me to do something I didn't want to do was Tim McCoy. And so they would email him if I was fucking up. And so he gets this email one day that's like, hey, Tristan hasn't turned in these past like 4 or 5 homework assignments. Can you get him to give those to me ASAP? And this just happens to be my favorite day of the week. It's a Tuesday or a Thursday, which means it's jazz band rehearsal day. Favorite day of the week. So I'm walking in, I'm pulling out my horn, I'm getting ready to get set up. He was like, hey, Tristan, come with me for a second. I'm like, all right, cool. What's up? I'm thinking we're about to talk about some charts he wants to buy, whatever. He points to a practice room and like I see a textbook and pencil and paper and like a chair and he took the keyboard and the computer out of the room so I couldn't get on the computer and write shit out. He took the keyboard and the computer out of the room. So like, we had like MIDI keyboards in some of the practice rooms. That's what I mean by keyboards.
Yeah.
Like he took that out so I couldn't like fuck around on that. And he was like, you do not leave this room until you get this done. And then you're going to walk it up to so-and-so's room and then you can come to rehearsal. And I was like, fine.
Hey man, you know what? Is he still around?
Yeah. Well, he's not around like Wilmington. Oh. We keep him fairly good. Low key, he's like a surrogate father. Like him and I have a very good relationship. He's in Raleigh now teaching, but yeah, he's still around.
Oh, okay. Cause that's a good teacher. That's like some kind of movie moment or something.
Oh yeah. No, it was like, we had a lot of those. I remember like, my last marching band competition, my senior year, we got shitted. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we arguably marched the best show on that field. I mean, it was clean, precise. The music was hitting. The crowd was engaged. And I think we placed third out of 8 in our class or something like that, which like the leaderboard was like within decimals of points. So it was like the top band scored like a 93. We scored or the top band scored a 93, the band below them scored a 92.7, and then we scored a 92.3. So like that's how close it was. But like when they announced like us in third place, like all of us kind of like sunk our heads, like the senior class, because like that was our last competition. So instead of it being section leaders that went out, it was just the entire senior class of the band. So like we went out and like they announced us in third place. Bro, I cried like a little bitch. I cried, hung my head and everything. And like all you hear is McCoy from the sideline saying, "Pick your heads up, don't you cry out here." Like that's all you hear. And we're just like,
see,
back to it.
I never experienced that because we didn't lose.
Shut up.
hey, we had the best band. I was senior. Yeah, well, actually, I wasn't in band my senior year, but my junior year we had like the best band, and we got all good grades and all that stuff. Although we didn't do marching competitions, we did the concert band competitions and stuff like that. Highest grades you can get, son.
See, now concert band, we were great. Like that's the thing, but like there's no concert bands. Like the thing about marching band is you spend like it's literally like a team. Like you spend so much time with these people. Like I don't think people understand that. Like when their kid wants to do marching band, like that is a commitment. Like I mean, you remember that like from July after the school years. No. But like from taking me everywhere, like from July. After the end of the school year, from July to August was camp, and I'm at the school 3 to 4 times a week. And then from the school year, it's like, 2 of my 4 classes a day were band. I was taking second period band, which was with the drum line, and then I was taking fourth period band, which was with the rest of the wind ensemble. We spent both of those class periods outside on the practice lot, perfecting the dot sheet. And then after that, on Tuesdays and Thursdays during marching season was marching band rehearsal. So from 4 to 6 on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we're outside. So like a school day for me, I'm not getting home. I would leave the house at like 7:30. I'm not getting home until, if I don't go hang out after, I'm not getting home until at least 7:30, 8 o'clock. So like you spend a lot of time. And then like that's not including like the one-off sectionals that you want to do to clean stuff up, or like if you're helping out a freshman who doesn't quite understand the marching mechanics, or like there's like it's a commitment. So like people don't realize that. And then that's what ends up like you get really close to those people. So like especially for my senior class, is because for my senior class at Hanover, that was truly the last great class of musicians. Like
I get that.
And I don't mean that to throw shade. I mean, I'm just saying like,
oh yeah, you just said the rest of them suck. You just said that.
I mean, I'm not saying they suck. They just weren't as good as us.
I heard.
That's what you heard, but I clarified it. I said what I said, and I stand by it. And there, honestly, to put the caveat to that, the senior class before us, they were better than us. They were like those people that graduated from the 2012 class. Oh my God, they were some talented people. None of them are doing music.
2012.
Yeah, 2012.
2012.
2012. That was 8 years ago.
2012.
They were talented, like they were mad talented. So like when we would but anyway, that was the last, and I say that it was the last great class to come out of Hanover because that was the last class that stuck together. Like that was like we were really like my senior class. Like I'm still very much in contact with a lot of people that I graduated with now. I mean, I just take for Christian. Christian. Like we chop it up on the regular.
Yeah.
So like that was the last great stick together. Like we're a unit, and I got your back through whatever. Like I mean, quite literally. If one of us was in a fight, we all was throwing hands. That's how it went down.
Y'all like drumline.
Except like real. Not saying that it didn't happen, just like,
No, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Right. But yeah, so like, yeah, that's the thing. Like that was the cool thing about that. And I think shout out to Tim McCoy, because he did a great job in fostering that kind of environment. Because like not just me, but like a lot of us viewed him as like surrogate father. Like, even if we may not agree all the time, what he says goes, period. Because we knew he had our best interest at heart. So yeah, that was a really deep kind of sidebar, but yeah. And I think we're actually out of time.
Yeah, but let's
all
do
right.
These other ones. Let's go ahead.
Nah, we're out. We can save those for the next episode.
Because stuff out. We'll save them out.
Yeah.
So what do we leave off? All right.
So all right, it looks
we'll
like
say the OHTG.
Mm-hmm. One's got to go.
What we listen to now, and that's it.
Yeah. So yeah, just two, and we can double those on to the next episode. But this is actually a good place to wrap. I think that's a good place to wrap. So anyway, thanks for listening, guys. I am again at TB on the Sax. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter, and on the Book of Faces if you can. That is Willie the Genius. Also follow him on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and he be wilding out there. So y'all follow him in these streets. All right. Peace out.
Man, you got me with that Book of Faces. I was like, what the